And we're back. And if you're joining us right now, we're just getting our first conversation for this morning started. And as we mentioned before the break, we are going to be talking about some government services which you can access online. And we are also speaking about how you can pay for those services as well. And joining us for the conversation this morning, we have Alexia Peralta, who is the Director of E-Governance, of the E-Governance and Digital Unit. We also have Agatha Ruta, who is the Head of Digital Retail and Corporate Banking with the Belize Bank Limited. And joining us via Zoom, we also have Domingo Pau, who is a Labor Officer from the Ministry of Labor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you again.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you as well.
This is a pretty exciting initiative and conversation. So perhaps, Alexia, you can get us started off by talking about what the government's initiative is behind moving some services online or enabling online access.
Okay, certainly. I mean, I think it was last year when I actually was here with you presenting the very ambitious National Digital Agenda, which really is the roadmap to how as a government we want to transform ourselves. But beyond that, how do we transform our country to become more inclusive, more effective, and more efficient? And one of the ways, of course, is through e-governance. A major pillar of that is taking services online. But it's easy to say we're going to take services online without considering the full needs of the user. So one of the key initiatives that we've done now with a partnership with the Belize Bank and, of course, our other partners, the Ministry of Finance, even the Ministry of Labor, local government, is really trying to understand now what's the next step for government while putting services online. But beyond that, how much more can we further enhance the ability that we have in providing those services to citizens? And I think that's where the brainchild came about in trying to ensure that we are now providing for online payments, because we realize, we're putting services online, but we're not really doing so in a full end-to-end solution. I think we were having a discussion right before we began in the fact that you take services online, but you still have to maybe WhatsApp a receipt, you still have to travel to a government entity to make those payments. So it really begged the question, are we really making those services as user-friendly, as easy as possible? And of course, the answer is no. Hence why we initiated this project, which is really supporting electronic payments for government and going online in partnership with the Belize Bank and all our key partners in trying to facilitate online payments, but also trying to ensure that it's very inclusive. Yeah. And looking about new technologies in the market that could help us to be more efficient, more inclusive, but also very secure, because we understand that that's one of the key needs for our citizens. So really now being citizen-centric. I know maybe we don't hear those words as much as we should, but definitely is at the core of what government is now trying to do in trying to ensure that we're responsive to the needs of our citizens.
Alexia, when you talk about digitizing services, I'm sure everybody has a wish list as to what should be first, right? Whether it is, traffic or passports, but you've gone the route with going with the temporary employment permit. Let's talk about why that was kind of the first entry.
Well, first of all, to be honest, the Ministry of Rural Transformation, Labor, local government, I would say is one of the biggest innovators in government. They're really pushing forward in trying to become more digital, to trying to become more transformative. So when we looked also at the capabilities within government, they were really pushing forward. They really wanted to embrace the transformation. But the temporary workers permit application was also a high volume traffic service that was being utilized by the business sector. And of course, we wanted to ensure that we're supporting that. And considering the need for economic recovery, we also had to place great emphasis on trying to provide that service to the business community. As we know, our entire country is really agro-based and tourism-based. And one of the big sectors, of course, they need that labor pool. So it was also considering all those factors so that we're providing not just digital services, but services that also have a socioeconomic impact to the country. Because really and truly, that's also the objective of trying to go digital. How do we expand our economy while supporting our citizens' needs, of course?
And of course, to put into perspective that change, Domingo, you could tell us what the existing process is before people had these online services.
Hi, good morning, Marlene. Good morning, my colleagues there, Miss Agatha and Miss Alexia. It's a pleasure to be here once again, of course. Yes, the Labor Department have a responsibility to accept and vet work permit application manually. In the past, we used to receive those applications manually, and we do the entire processing manually and to the end of that process. Again, because of COVID, when COVID hit us in 2020, we had to change the way in which we do things and still try our best to provide the services that we offer. And in this case, the temporary employment permit application. So immediately we started to work on that and to ensure that that become a reality. So then in January, February of last year, 2021, we launched that system. And but again, there was some aspect of it where it still requires manual, whereby persons would still have to go to the treasury physically and pay the fees. For a regular temporary employment permit, the fees would be $20 stamp and $25 processing fee. And for those in the agricultural sector, the fees would only be $20. Like for the associations, the Banana Growers Association, the Citrus Growers Association, and the Cane Farmers Association. So even though we have an online system, that these persons will still have to manually put in those treasury receipt number on our system, where the system would then validate that payment to ensure that the payment was made in order for the system to create an application. So, but because of that, now we want to again try to improve on our system, and hence the reason the Labor Department partner with the Belize Bank and all other stakeholders in this to help us that we are able to achieve that payment with the E-kyash.
Yeah.
So now people would then no longer need to go physically to the treasury, and that they would be able to pay those fees online.
Yeah. I guess this is the clear example, Alexia, that you spoke of, where there's an attempt made to kind of make the process a bit easier, but that gap existed with payment. Enter E-kyash, right?
That's right.
And Agatha, we can go back to just from the launch to look at the uptake so far and how this can actually, how it has such a wide reach that can help in easing this process.
Exactly, right? Right now we are almost 1 year old. We launched the E-kyash 6th of August last year, and it was a tremendous success, right? Right now we have in the system over 45,000 users, and that was a main also goal for the government to make sure that the system will be used, right? So it's not something that we have some capabilities, but the users, customers, citizens, they don't know how to use it. With E-kyash, a lot of customers already have an application, they know how to use it, they know how easy it is, and that was the entry point for our discussion. More than that, launching the E-kyash, our main objective was to have the open banking capabilities for that, which means that we do have the API documentation that we share with the merchants, with the vendors, and this way we make the integration extremely easy. We worked on the integration about 3 months, and within 3 months we were able to launch the system, fully fledged system for the citizens. So with these capabilities, it's a lot of angles, right? One, that the users are there, they know how to use the system, and then we provide the tools to our merchants, which make this integration extremely easy. So the time to market is very short.
Yes, yes. Now, and a key part as well is that the E-kyash is meant to include both people who are within the banking system and people who aren't. And very often, temporary workers may not have set up a bank account system as yet, or it may be far off from where they're working, if you're talking about the agriculture sector. Does that also add to this particular use of this payment mechanism?
Oh, yes.
It actually was the primary reason why we chose this specific solution. I mean, there are various other solutions for making payments online, but when you think about it, rightfully, as you said, we're talking about the agriculture sector. We're talking about areas in the country that are not near a bank or not near a treasury department, maybe might not be able to do a wire transfer, don't have access to credit cards. So all of these had to be factored in to really find the best solution in ensuring that we're being as inclusive as possible and that we're providing the best service to the citizen. And like, I said earlier, it's all about how do we drive and provide the best solution for the user, considering their needs. And that was, I think, the primary number one reason why we said we needed to look outside the traditional online payment solutions, and let's look what's in the market, what's innovative, and what really caters and really allows for that accessibility, because this is just step one for us. Really and truly, we want to pilot same initiatives across government services. So we have to think about the wider scale of, we want to ensure that every citizen in the country, wherever you are, can access a service fully online, but you can also make your payments fully online as well.
Yes. Also, we need to remember, to your point, that in Belize, we have just 16-17% of the credit card penetration, and 35% of adults are still unbanked, right? So with E-kyash, it's not something that we are targeting just one segment of the customers. Everybody can use this online payment, whether you are banked or unbanked. You can use it, you can cash in your wallet, and then you can use the wallet, whether it's for the regular QR code payments or for the services like government is providing. One more thing that I wanted to mention, which is extremely important, what we did for this specific launch, is that, as you remember, in our wallet we have 3 levels of the wallets to target different segments. However, for this specific project, we enable the government as a whitelisted merchant, and what it means is that it doesn't matter what level of the wallet it is. When you scan the QR code generated on the government website, then the limits do not apply, and the limits are up to $5,000. And this is done to enable the bulk payments for the employment
so if I'm paying for a number of workers, I can do it all in one transaction.
So let's say if you are a banana farm or citrus industry, you don't need to do the one-by-one applications and payments, but you can do all of the applications for 100 employees and then pay in bulk.
And that definitely makes it easier. I have a question, because I know we've talked about E-kyash very often, about mobile to mobile. How does it work with payments like these?
Yes, it's both. It's mobile responsive as well. So the customer can either complete the transaction on the website with the push notification to E-kyash, or just regularly, traditionally scanning the QR code on the website. Or if the employer is completing the transaction on the mobile device, then it's even easier than that. It's just one click, the checkout page appears, we review the details, and the payment can be completed.
All right. Now, Domingo, I'm sure the number one question people have is that all that manual work was for a purpose. Due diligence is important to ensure that these permits are vetted before they're approved. Is that, how are we integrating that as we try to simplify the process online?
Well, again, because the system is online now, it all depends on the applicant, because then once the applicant provides all the necessary requirements as required to, then there will be no issue in terms of the vetting, because then the person vetting that application will go through the process and to ensure that everything is there, and immediately those applications would then be sent to the committee for approval. And after the approval is made, automatically the applicant would receive a notification the very same moment that those applications have been approved directly to the applicant. So this helps us to narrow down the amount of time that it would take to for the application to be processed.
Okay.
If I can add, Marlene, I think it really and truly does support greater transparency and accountability, especially now as we seek to move payments online. In addition to enabling the e-kyash, what has also been built within the system is really a comprehensive cashiering module that now allows for government to really reconcile and make every single transaction accountable. And it makes reporting far much easier for the Treasury Department to be able to see how transactions are flowing, who is it tied to, specifically because we want to also ensure that the services that are being paid for are the services that are being offered. So I think it allows greater transparency, accountability, and which is fundamentally one of the key principles as well that we're trying to achieve with becoming a more digital government.
Correct. Also, if I may add, the direct integration of payments is very important for the efficiency, but also from the customer perspective when it comes to the transparency. Because when you complete the transaction, you see this transaction in your transaction history. So you know that it was successful.
Yeah.
And then because we have the immediate response between the systems, you will see that transaction was successful on the TEP website.
Yeah.
So one, it's in e-kyash, but also in the TEP, so the customer is informed immediately that the transaction was successful and they can proceed. There is no time delay, there is nothing.
real time.
Correct,
Yeah.
right? That, for example, you go and do the traditional online transfer, but then you need to wait until the transaction is processed through the national payment system. Right? So you still have a delay. With our integration, all of the transactions are real time and immediate.
And do we have different options for languages as well?
E-kyash has
Yes.
the options
For e-kyash we do. We have English and Spanish.
Okay.
Right now we are also feeling the waters in terms of the other languages that we would need to implement. And when it comes to the TEP system,
Yes, I believe it also has English and Spanish.
Okay. Now, you told us before we started that this is a part of this is the initiation of the plan. So your hope is to be able to have other services be fully online as well. So how long will you roll out the temporary workers permit before you reassess and see what needs to be tweaked before moving forward?
Well, traditionally it does take more or less about a 3 month period to really assess not just the uptake, but are we really meeting the needs of the citizen?
Yeah.
I mean, because we might think it's a great product, it's really going to meet your needs, but then when we get into the actual utilization of it, we might realize we might have missed something or we need to reassess. So definitely, I would say we're giving ourselves at least a 3 month period to really assess, to understand the market more, to see whether it could be applied across. We're hoping that it can, but this is not the and only solution for online payments.
Yeah.
As I said, we're looking at other options, but this is one of those that we certainly wanted to ensure that we pilot now so that we can move forward with.
And from the ministry's perspective, maybe Domingo, you can perhaps you can tell us a little bit about what the uptake has been like from the personnel who working with the technology and the transition from the older methods to the new.
Well, it is not something that was easy, because we know that change is something hard to do when you're accustomed of doing something for many years. So therefore, there has been a lot of challenges in terms of people not able to use the online system. But our officers in each district are trained to provide assistance and even training for these persons to be able to utilize the system. So as it is right now, we haven't have those issues. People are being more receptive and learning how to use the system. So I can tell you that since we have launched the system, there's about over 4,000 persons have already utilized our
Oh,
system.
wow. Yeah. Yeah, and this is a repeated process that they have to do. So every time they do it, they'll get better at it.
And to add to that, Ms. Marlene, that we're also adding what we call a special purpose work permit. Now, this special purpose work permit as well, again, the fees can be able to be paid using the E-kyash. This special work permit came about as what Ms. Peralta mentioned in terms of economic recovery for our country. We know that persons come into this country for a very short period of time to perform, to work, like especially the entertainers or persons who work in art, or persons who are specialized skills would come for a week or 2 weeks. So this special purpose work permit, persons are able to apply before they even come into the country and pay the fees. And this special work permit is for 30 days. So if on our online system, there are two options. You have the regular temporary employment permit, and then you have the special purpose work permit. Now the fees for the special purpose work permit is $20 stamp and $100 processing fee. So it's a total of $120 for this special purpose work permit. These applications will be processed within 24 hours. So that is something that we are adding on to our system.
Okay. And what about payment times? Can I go home after work and get it done? Do I have to do it within banking hours? What are we looking at?
24/7. So you can do it from your from the comfort of your house, office, wherever it allows you, right? Because we really want our entrepreneurs to focus on the growth of their business rather than focusing of how much time they need to reserve to apply and then to go and pay, right? When we tested, sorry to interject, when we tested, the entire process, if you have everything ready, will take you around like 10 minutes. So it's really convenient.
We talked about safety, we talked about vetting applications, but what about safety of transactions? I know this is perhaps, we talked about challenges for change, still a fear everybody has when you're thinking of electronic transactions.
Yes, and it's significantly more secure than your physical wallet, as we spoke about it a lot. The e-kyash transactions, online transactions are very secured. You control your credentials, you have your PIN number, you enter e-kyash with your biometrics, so it's not something that anybody can get into your wallet and use the funds you have over there. Just one caveat over here, I would like to encourage everybody not to share your credentials with your friends and family, even if it's a very close friend. Not to do it, right?
Don't give out your password.
Yes, right? It's not something that you just take your wallet from the pocket and give it to anybody. So this is important, but the transactions are very secure. This is one of our main objectives, to make sure that the ecosystem is secured. I have one more comment to what Mr. Domingo mentioned about the foreigners who will be able to apply for the employment permit before they come to Belize. What we started to do at the Belize Bank is to enable a very robust also e-commerce solution that will provide the capability for the foreigners to use and to pay for any service before they come to Belize, processing debit and credit cards in the foreign currencies as well as in the local currency. So this will also address the need for the foreigners to pay for any services before they come.
Excellent. Or if you have a family member
was
who
gonna
wants to
send the
help you out
diaspora.
from home.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, because it happens a lot, and there are a lot of challenges in them being able to financially help family members at home. All right, so what else do you want to tell our viewers about the rollout of this new program and what can be expected that's next on the line?
Well, of course, we're excited to be offering this new product to all Belizeans. We're hoping that we can get, massive uptake of the service, but also to be expecting, for new services to be integrated to the solution as we aim to really improve the service delivery for you, but also to feel free to give us feedback, because that's important for us to really understand whether it's working for you or it's not. That's the only way we can truly provide the best service possible to the citizens. Of course, you can expect to keep seeing me more, because we're gonna have very new exciting things to deliver to the citizens. But we're excited overall to be doing this partnership with Belize Bank, but even so to really look beyond and try to partner with the business sector to really improve that service delivery.
Just one final question. Is there a hotline if someone gets stuck in their online forms or in fulfilling the requirements?
Yes, there's actually 4 E-kyash, and there's also 4 the TP systems. So,
Okay, great.
Mr. Paul actually would be probably best to identify how you can connect with them, because they have a team that's there ready to support everyone if you're having any troubles. But E-kyash as well has team on standby and support to really help with the entire transition process, because we understand it's gonna take time. But definitely, I think everybody walks around with a phone in their pocket. So I think we'll realize it's extremely easy, user-friendly, and it's really convenient.
All right.
One more final remark from my side. We do a big launch this Thursday.
Thank you. I almost forgot.
So starting Friday, everybody is more than welcome to
Tune
try.
in.
Nice.
Right? Yes, tune in on Thursday for,
Yes.
for the launch when we will be presenting the detailed demo, step by step, how to complete the process.
Okay.
And then, since that time,
We're
our
gonna be
employers
fully
can start to
online.
enjoy.
There's some people who are going to push their permit to the limit so they can do it online instead. Right, Domingo? Closing
That's
time?
right, that's right.
Yeah.
So we'll see everybody on Thursday at 10 a.m. on the Government of Belize Facebook page. We'll be live streaming the entire event.
Yes, Belize Bank likewise.
Yes.
So
All right.
we will be all there.
Well, thank you all for coming in and telling us all about it. We are all for simplified processes here. And no, I mean, I think we show someone in an office, but the reality is a temporary worker has to get on a bus, get to a main municipality and do all these transactions. And this will definitely alleviate some of the cost and time associated.
Definitely.
So, a great step. Thank you all for coming in.
Thank you
you
so
as well
much.
for having us.
Have a good day.
And with
Thank
that,
you.
we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking about scholarships that are going to be available courtesy the Alumni Association of University of North Florida. So please, stay tuned.